5 seconds to go. Start. The proper criterion for interpretation is the search for law's purpose, comma, and that purposive interpretation best fulfills that criterion. Stop. Para. The principle of purposive interpretation has also been expounded through a catena of judgments of this court. Stop. A constitution bench of this court was considering a question, comma, as to whether the term prescribed in section 34 would apply to a member of a deemed committee under the provisions of the Hyderabad District Municipalities Act, 1956. Stop. An argument was put forth that, upon a correct interpretation of the provisions of section 16, the same would be permissible. Stop. Rejecting the said argument, K. Subbarao, Judge, observed thus, para. Before we consider this argument in some detail, it will be convenient at this stage to notice some of the well-established rules of construction which would help us to steer clear. Stop. Para. As already discussed here in above, the central government has advised the central board to draft a scheme to implement demonetization in a non-disruptive manner with as little inconvenience to the public and business entities as possible. Stop. Accordingly, a draft scheme was also submitted by the central board along with its recommendations for demonetization. Stop. It is stated in the affidavit that the RBI had subsequently issued relaxations from time to time, taking into consideration the difficulties of the people and availability of the new notes. Stop. No doubt that on account of demonetization, the citizens were faced with various hardships. Stop. However, we may again gainfully refer to the following observations of this court in the case of R.K. Garg Supra, para. The court must therefore adjudge the constitutionality of such legislation by the generality of its provisions and not by its crudities or iniquities or by the possibilities of abuse of any of its provisions. Stop. If any crudities, iniquities or possibilities of abuse come to light, the legislature can always step in and enact suitable amendatory legislation. Stop. That is the essence of pragmatic approach which must guide and inspire the legislature in dealing with complex economic issues. Stop. Para. Therefore, while adjudging the illegality of the impugned notification, we would have to examine on the basis as to whether the objectives for which it was enacted has nexus with the decision taken or not. Stop. If the impugned notification had a nexus with the objectives to be achieved, then, merely because some citizens have suffered through hardships would not be a ground to hold the impugned notification to be bad in law. Stop. Para. In this respect, we may gainfully refer to the following observations of this court in the case of Kumari Sonia Bhatia versus State of UP and others, para. Lastly, it was urged by Mr. Kakkad that this is an extremely hard case where the grandfather of the donee wanted to make a beneficial provision for his granddaughter after having lost his two sons in the prime of their life due to air crash accidents while serving in the Air Force. Stop. It is true that the district judge has come to a clear finding that the gift in question is bona fide and has been executed in good faith, but as the gift does not fulfill the other ingredients of the section, namely, that is not for adequate consideration, we are afraid. Stop.